Hi there, good to be back. This week in Get Me Right, like I always do, two stories, one domestic and one from outside India, but both relevant. A lowdown to give you a sense of empowerment, clarity, and thoughts which make you feel you really know. You really know. Let's get started with the two in this edition. You would have seen a spate of terror attacks past fortnight in Jammu and Kashmir. Only that on closer look, almost all of them are in Jammu region, not the Kashmir Valley. Traditional thought was that it is Kashmir which is hotbed of terrorism. Jammu, with its more balanced population composition, was peaceful. What's really happening there? What's changed on the ground? That's going to be our focus in the first story. And then for the second one, how can we miss the Donald Trump assassination bid? Did the Don get it done on himself to become a bigger hero? Or did the left fringe get it done to get rid of Biden? Conspiracy is hot. Those 9 seconds. From the firing of the bullet to taking down of the assailant, to Trump getting to speak to his supporters before being taken in his car, have unleashed conspiracy theories on both sides of the political divide in the United States. Stay with me as I bring to you that tragicomic takedown of the American society through those Trump assassination bid conspiracies in our second story. First up, Jammu. A dangerous game is getting played out in Jammu and Kashmir, more specifically in the Jammu region of the Union Territory. This month and the last, July and June, have seen 6 terror attacks that have killed 9 Hindu pilgrims and 9 soldiers, including an officer, Captain Brajesh Thapa. Fighting irrelevance in the Kashmir Valley post the abrogation of Article 370, a desperate Pakistan has shifted its attention to the peaceful region south of the Pir Panjal ranges. While the success might be temporary, it has brought under focus a security deficit that had been in the making for some time. Stay with me for the next few minutes as I explain to you in some detail what is happening there on the ground in Jammu and Kashmir. The move of the Modi government in August 2019 to scrap and relegate to dustbins of history the Article 370 of the Constitution, thus taking away the special status of J&K, was a hemorrhagic shock for the Pakistani deep state. Pakistan was completely paralyzed with the deftness of India's move, flawless execution on the ground, and complete grip over the narrative globally. So isolated was Pakistan that it could not get a resolution passed in the Organization of Islamic Countries, the OIC, against India's decision on Kashmir. Post-abrogation crackdown on terrorism infrastructure and the ecosystem that supported it in the valley has resulted in Kashmiris reaping peace dividends. Ritualistic stone pelting after Friday prayers is a thing of the past. The valley youth increasingly realizes future is with India. The tremendous turnout of voters in Kashmir, with Baramulla beating Borivali in percentage of votes polled, is proof of absence of terror and fear, and consequently the irrelevance of Pakistan. While the indicator was blinking left, the battle turned right, with China launching the offensive in Galwan Valley of Ladakh in April 2020. Remember, as much as Pakistan was affected with India's Article 370 move in POK, China was equally impacted vis-a-vis Aksai Chin. India responded with perhaps its biggest peacetime mobilization after Operation Parakram of 2001, moving 3 division strengths of forces to Ladakh. With focus on keeping a tight control over the Kashmir Valley, the choice of troops for this provisioning of the garrison to Ladakh fell predominantly on the peaceful Jammu region, which had been sitting on its own peace dividends post-Operation Sarp Vinash of 2003. But I would come to that in a bit. With troops moved out of Jammu, including some of those fantastic Rashtriya Rifle units, Pakistan got an opportunity to infiltrate and resurrect the terrorism ecosystem over the last couple of years. It is that infiltration, with sources suggesting anything between 50 to 60 terrorists, all of them of Pakistani origin, which is behind this latest spike in terror attacks. In what seems like a very well-executed operation, the group of terrorists has divided itself into two cells of 25 to 30 each, one operating along the border districts of Poonch and Rajouri, and another in south of Pir Panjal ranges that divide Jammu from Kashmir, the districts of Udhampur, Doda, Kishtwar. Each terror attack is carried out by a small unit of 4 or 5 of these terrorists. There are other contributing factors which have added to the intensity of the attacks. The terrorists are carrying better weapons and ammunition, many of them of American vintage, like the M4 carbine machine guns and steel-piercing bullets. Sources tell me that the weaponry is from what Americans left at places like the Bagram Air Base while withdrawing from Afghanistan as Taliban took over that country. There is another reason why the terrorists are succeeding in giving the impression of success. While the entire focus was on Kashmir, Jammu suffered from a bit of neglect. It's like you lose the muscle you don't use. It is easy to forget that post the Operation Sarp Vinash in the summer of 2003, terror had effectively vanished from this part of the Union territory. In the early 2000s, it was not so. Like today, the heavily wooded hills of the Jammu region had 60 to 65 foreign terrorists and were as active with attacks as in the valley across the Pir Panjal ranges. The then India government ordered flushing out of these mountain snakes, and the Northern Command did so in months under Operation Sarp Vinash. The objective was achieved with just 7 battalions specifically trained for mountain warfare. The same can be easily repeated. In fact, as we speak, a redeployment of forces is already happening, and we would smoke the rats out this time too. ITBP, the Indo-Tibetan Border Police teams, adept at living with rugged mountains, and CRPF battalions having jungle warfare under their skin have been moved in. But there are lessons already for Jammu and Kashmir's security machine. People in the know I spoke to admit to complacency-born lapses. The buildup of terrorists in the forests and mountains over 2 years went unnoticed. Missing intelligence on the scale of infiltration suggests 2 things. One, that eyes were taken off this very strategic territory. And 2, peacetime arrangements have meant absence of intelligence assets on the ground, despite the region being inhabited by very India-friendly Gujar and Bakarwal tribes. Security forces detained as many as 140 individuals in the Kathua district on Wednesday in connection with the July 8 terror attack that had left 5 soldiers martyred, with no terrorists neutralized yet. The individuals are suspected of having provided logistics or other support to these terrorists, including food and shelter. Obviously, the number cannot be that big. That's another indication, in fact, of absent intelligence assets on the ground. Not that success is elusive. All the 5 terrorists who were part of the Gando encounter of Doda were neutralized last month. If you look at the official data, while 130 local boys had joined terror ranks in the year 2022, the number has fallen steeply to just 22 in 2023. Just last week, 6 local terrorists were eliminated in Kulgam in one go. On the Jammu side, all are Pakistanis. Also, while even one of our bravest of brave Jawan lost to cowardly Pakistani terrorists too many, we must remember some hard truths about India's overall security picture. Data for the 5-year period from 2014 to 2018 shows that while we lost 339 soldiers in Jammu and Kashmir to terror attacks emanating from Pakistan, the number of security personnel martyred to left-wing extremism or the Naxal violence from Chhattisgarh to Maharashtra stood at 354, 15 more than Kashmir. That's Ministry of Home Affairs data. It is possible that Pakistan is playing a diabolical game in cahoots with China. If you look at the pattern of terror attacks, you can't miss that of the 8 that have taken place this year. Since January, 6 have happened post-June 4 results, when the Modi government came back to power for the 3rd term. In fact, the attack on Shiva devotees when they were returning from Shiva Khori shrine of Kathua, which happened on June 9, exactly on the day that oath-taking ceremony of Prime Minister Narendra Modi was panning out. There might be more than a coincidence that Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif was in China from June 4 to June 8 with his entire cabinet in tow to pay obeisance to Xi Jinping and seek his benevolence. From Galwan attack requiring restructuring of security grid to Jinping hosting Pakistan cabinet on the day of Modi winning his third term cannot be overlooked. China has a lot to lose if India wins. China grudges India's peaceful rise. China hates it when India is wooed as a democracy and not seen only from the transactional lens of trade and commerce. We need to do some plain speaking with the Chinese on this aspect of their sustaining, bankrolling, and perhaps guiding the Pakistani terror machine. Apart from wanting to give a communal spin to its terror acts, Pakistan could also be testing the resolve of the Modi government to conduct elections to the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly. The Supreme Court has mandated they be held by September 30 this year. With the kind of voting that was recorded in the general elections, another successful exercise of franchise in Jammu and Kashmir would put paid to any Pakistani propaganda on international platforms that India weakens democracy in Kashmir. While we need not be affected by what the world would think if election got delayed, the government should take a call if we need an operation all out in the forests and hills of Jammu to send across a message to Pakistan yet again that India's march to progress would not be slowed by its nefarious designs. If there's any further escalation, world capitals should be told that Pakistan would be held responsible. There's no rule that surgical strikes can happen only once or twice. We have done one over the land in Uri, through air in Balakot. This time, it might well be the sea. Moving on to the second one. The bullet that 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks fired from his assault rifle at the Pennsylvania rally ground last Saturday killed one president's chances to come back to office. And it's not Donald Trump. Come November, Trump has everything going for him to be the next president of the United States. No, let me correct myself. He had everything going for him till Saturday, but post that assassination bid, he's unstoppable. It's Joe Biden who might have taken the ricochet from the bullet. Those 9 seconds have been dissected ad nauseum now, including on your own Republic TV, giving a long list of security lapses. Briefly, let's look at those lapses with the videos on your screen.
Take a look at what happened.
One, Crooks was seen at least half an hour before the shooting at the rally venue, complete with a rangefinder and a backpack. His presence flagged by Trump supporters. Yet the agencies lost his track in the crowd. 2 videos have emerged of him being brought to the notice of cops on duty second time when he's seen crawling up that shed from where he took the shot at Trump. Again, no reaction from the law enforcement agencies. 3, despite knowing that there was an active security situation at the venue, Trump was allowed to arrive and take the stage. 4, once the shot is fired, Trump ducks on his own. If you go back to the visuals, you realize that the nearest Secret Service agent is at least 5 meters away. That's not proximity protection by any definition of the word. 5, the counter sniper took down Crooks only after he had fired as many as 7 rounds, killing 1 and injuring 2 other rally goers. That's a slow response time. 6, Trump was allowed to take his 5 seconds and do his fist in the air number before being whisked away. In that melee, it is unlikely that the Secret Service agents had an all clear on the shooter to let Trump raise his head and do that gig for his supporters. 7, and for that, let's go back to security preparations before the event. Basic security protocol of occupying heights that can give any would-be assassin a vantage point to shoot was not followed. In fact, the place Crooks occupied gave him direct line of sight to Trump from a mere 150 meters. 8, and this might be peripheral, but of consequence for investigation. Crook's parents had intimated local police hours in advance of him missing in a manner that worried them about his well-being. Why were they worried? Did they know their son had scooted with his father's rifle? Were they aware of his state of mind in any manner? Records have shown that Crook searched for symptoms of depressive disorder at least once on his laptop. July 13 would be my premiere. Watch as it unfolds. Crooks posted on an American social media platform called Steam. There is now ample information to show that Crooks did a recce of the rally venue in advance. His planning included arranging a ladder, which has led to another conspiracy theory. How did he know that exactly that shed and that roof would be available without a Secret Service sniper or law enforcement presence? Trumpsters and Republicans erupted in anger. Secret Service, the agency charged with protecting American presidents and presidential candidates, much like our own SPG, was slammed for incompetence. Its head, Kimberly Cheatle, has been lampooned and reviled since then for injecting wokeism into the service to an extent that professional merit stands compromised. The lapses are glaring, obviously. A lady agent is seen struggling to put her weapon back into the holster in one of the videos. Another lady officer is seen ducking lower than Trump with the first burst of firing. But that can be a sexist way of looking at things. Cheatle's target of having up to 30% of the agents made up of women is not different from India trying same with its state police forces. More likely, the very visible incompetence of cops on duty or failure of security protocols were a product of the Secret Service having not faced a similar situation in the last 4 decades. The last time an American president was shot at was in 1981, when Ronald Reagan was hit and wounded in Washington, D.C. Reagan, of course, survived. Investigations, both internal and external, would throw some light on these issues, and for sure the gaps would get plugged. But conspiracy is thick in the air already, made easier to piece together by the lapses I listed earlier. Let us look at some of them. Did Trump get this done to solidify his grip over the election, to make it one-sided? So the left loonies believe. One host on ABC was heard suggesting that much when she said that how come Trump was given 9 seconds to raise those fists, shout, fight, fight, fight. Essentially, Trump staged the attack and was allowed to present a profile in courage, according to this theory. The thought is aided by the fact of assailant Crooks registering as a Republican voter some time back. There's another one according to which the US deep state orchestrated it. To what objective? Maybe to force Biden to give up his second shot at the presidency. Then why? Because Biden has been on a mental decline, and a big section within the Democrat establishment is worried that this is not good for them and not good for America. And then again, this falls on Crooks himself, for he made a small $15 donation to a Democrat-leaning political action committee on the day Biden won his election in 2020. Podcaster and Trump supporter Dan Bongino claimed he had spoken to an unimpeachable source in the Biden administration and was told that the rooftop from where Crooks took that shot at Trump was supposed to be an occupied police post. The fact that it was left unmarked and unattended indicates towards a conspiracy, according to Bongino, who added that he was told by the same source that the Secret Service chief had been asked to remain shut or lose her job. Cheatle did not help her cause when she attributed absence of an agent atop the shed to the sloping roof. I should quote it because even I found it funny. That building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point. And so, there's a safety factor that would be considered there, that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on sloped roof. And so, the decision was made to secure the building from inside. She's supposed to have told an interviewer. The argument was shred to pieces, with even the likes of Elon Musk joining in the debate. Pictures popped up of Secret Service agents standing atop the sloping White House roof, of cows moving on sheds with sloping roofs. Even the counter sniper who took down crooks was on a roof with greater incline than the one which was left unattended and hence occupied by crooks. Cheetal has also been mocked for bringing in the Iranian terror angle. Her admission, in fact, was a twin-edged sword. If the security around Trump was, in fact, upped, as she claimed, after the Iranian threat, then the lapses become preposterous. Combat veteran Shane Parnell, a Trump supporter who was present in the front rows at the rally, posted his picture punching holes in some of the Cheetal arguments. I should quote from this post. Everyone needs to see this photo to appreciate the tactical negligence that occurred during the assassination attempt on DJT, that's Donald J. Trump. This photo was taken just minutes before the first shots were fired. DJT is oriented towards the shooter at his point. Look in the upper left of this photo. That is the building. Look how close it was. Direct line of sight to DJT. You can see my wife and I to the right of the Secret Service agent in the front row. There is no excuse to not have someone on that roof. None. It amounts to the most stunning incompetence and negligence in a tactical situation that I have ever been part of. Ever. It's simply incomprehensible to me how this happens. The only thing that is more incomprehensible to me is how the director of the Secret Service still has a job, unquote. Another Trump supporter, Matt Wallace, made a direct charge at the Biden administration. According to him, there's someone in the Butler County Police Department who informed crooks in advance that the shed which he used for his shot was in fact going to be left unattended. Let me quote him also. That unequivocally means there is a snake in the Butler County Police Department who made sure that an opening was available for the shooter. He was given his marching orders by the same deep state operative who dictated that the Secret Service would resign their duties to protect the most critical building. The conclusion? It's almost impossible for so many things to align without a hand pulling the strings. That hand must be found and eliminated before the next attempt at Trump's life is successful. Unquote. These conspiracy theories are not just social media fodder. Mainstream Fox News host Jesse Waters directly charged federal agencies of hiding information in the light of these missing links. America is no stranger to both political assassinations and conspiracy theories. Famously, the killing of John F. Kennedy spawned over 1,000 books, most subscribing to one or the other conspiracy plot. All of them junking the official Wallace Committee report, which found none. It speaks volumes about a society that one of the Kennedy theories targeted then junior CIA operative George H.W. Bush. Yes, the same Bush who not only went on to head the CIA, but also became the President of the United States. Ultimately, it is about a political culture that accepts violence, both verbal and physical. Of late, it has evolved into what is termed as cancel culture. Biden has regretted his choice of words on Trump. For his part, in the first campaign video released after the shooting, Trump has resisted the temptation of using visuals of him under fire. Is better sense prevailing? We don't know yet. Trump is winning, and Biden is under pressure to opt out of Democrat ticket ahead of party's convention next month. So, in a way, objectives of conspiracy theories from both sides stand proved. Nevertheless, the live TV shooting was something Hollywood would have struggled to produce. As the host of The Apprentice, Trump himself is not unfamiliar with the grip that reality TV can have on audiences. But I'm not starting another conspiracy theory. Thanks for watching.